last name for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Ashley DeRosa. DeRosa is DeRosa.
And what do you do for a living, Dr. DeRosa?
Well, since 2002, I've been a professor at Midland State University, where I teach undergraduate and graduate courses in violence prevention and research. Now, in addition to teaching, I'm also the co-director of the Midland Center for Responsible Gun Policy and Legislation.
And what education do you have that allows you to hold these positions?
I have my master's in public health from Tufts University, as well as my doctorate in health policy and management from Midland State University.
Before we begin, I'd like to ask you if you're being compensated in this case.
I am, yes. I was hired by Ms. Hayden Duran, and she is paying me $500 an hour for my work, and I worked approximately 75 hours in this case.
Dr. DeRosa, how are you involved in this case?
Well, I was hired to assess the safety of the storage of the weapon that was used in the incident involving Sydney Park on August 18th of 2010.
In assessing the storage of the weapon, were you provided with sufficient facts and data?
I was, yes.
And what facts and data did you rely upon?
I relied upon the affidavits of Danny Brooks, who was the park's babysitter, Hayden Duran, as well as Andy Park. I'm also familiar with several exhibits, as well as the crime scene analysis that was provided to me by the forensic investigator, Jules Sebastian.
And in doing your analysis, did you use reliable principles and methods?
I did, yes.
And were those principles and methods applied reliably to the facts and data used in your analysis?
Yes, they were.
How did you begin that analysis, Doctor?
Well, I began by reviewing all the documents I was provided with, from which I was able to identify errors that were made by the parks when it came to properly storing their weapon.
Where did the park store their weapon?
The parks stored their weapon in a Gallucci combination safe, which they kept in their master bedroom.
And what was wrong with the way the park stored their weapon?
Well, their use of a Gallucci combination safe is highly commendable. However, it is important to note that a safe is only as strong as its combination, and that is where I was able to identify the two errors that were made by the parks.
And what were the two errors the parks made?
Well, the first was the location of the combination to the safe, and the second was the park's decision of not moving the location of the combination once they were aware that their daughter Sydney had knowledge of its location.
Now, I'd like to begin with the first error you noted, the location of the combination. Where was it in the park's home?
The parks had stored their combination in a filing cabinet that was located in their spare bedroom/office area.
Dr. DeRosa, why would you consider this an error?
Well, there were several reasons for this. The first was that the file drawer itself was located very low to the ground, making it easily accessible to children. Also, the filing cabinet had no lock on it, meaning that it could be opened at any time. And lastly, the door, the guest bedroom door, had no lock on it either, meaning anyone could enter or exit the room at any time.
Now, Dr. DeRosa, what steps could the parks have taken to properly secure their combination?
Well, there were two approaches that the parks could have followed. The first would be to have a combination that is memorized. Now, this ensures that no one but the intended parties have access to the combination and therefore to the weapon.
And what was the second approach the parks could have taken?
Well, because the parks have decided to keep a paper copy of their combination, the second approach would deal with keeping this combination in a location that can be locked away and that has minimal foot traffic in the house.
Now, I'd like to move on to the second error you noted. Can you please remind us what that error was?
Yes, the second error I noted was the park's decision of not moving the location of the combination once they were aware that their daughter Sydney had knowledge of its whereabouts.
What affidavits did you review that implied that Sydney was aware of the location of the combination?
Well, in my review of Andy's statement, she on one occasion saw her daughter Sydney sifting through the documents in the filing cabinet.
And what did you review that would indicate that Sydney had knowledge of the park's gun?
Well, once again, through my review of Andy's statement, Sydney asks her mother where the gun is located in the house and thereby acknowledges that she does have knowledge that there is a weapon in the home.
And on what day did this occur?
This conversation took place on August 17th, the day before the children accessed the weapon.
To your knowledge, did the parks take any steps to move the combination once Sydney expressed awareness of its location?
As per the documents I reviewed, the combination was still located in the unlocked filing cabinet in the guest bedroom on August 18th of 2010.
And to your knowledge, did the parks take any steps to move the gun once Sydney expressed interest in it?
No, there was no evidence to suggest a movement and location of the weapon.
Dr. DeRosa, Were you able to come to a conclusion in today's case?
I was, yes.
And what was that conclusion?
Well, since it was the park's weapon and it was stored in the park's home, it was therefore the park's responsibility to securely store their combination. It is my conclusion that the parks made it possible for an accident to occur in their home due to the improper way they stored their combination.
No further questions.